Willful Development. This is my 237th weekly update. This week went pretty okay. I was a little blindsided because I honestly thought this was a deload week. So walking right in on Monday, I was very excited to just be doing some simple singles when I was very abruptly brought back to reality and realized that I was actually doing fives this week. So that was a little jarring, to say the least, but I made it through somewhat. Basically, squats went pretty damn good. I think I was at 295. I think so. I think it was 295 for a set of 5, and those felt good, and the depth was real good, and the form was very decent for at least 4 out of the 5 reps. Everything stayed as tight as I wanted it to, so to speak. The depressing day of the week was definitely Tuesday, where I was going for 150 for 5 for just strict pressing. On my first attempt, I only managed to get 3, and it just wasn't happening, so I actually swapped bars because that particular bar is about 3 pounds heavier than the rest of the bars that are in the gym. So I said, you know what, let me get myself the best shot and go for it again, and I got to 4, and I've rewatched the footage probably 100 times, and basically what happened was, instead of keeping the elbows in the front, I was back here, and when I went to push, it just went straight that way, and there was no way I could lock it out. So if I had just come down here and kept the elbows up and then sprang out of it, it would have been fine, but I ended up getting 4 on my second set, I should say second attempt of strict press, and then I said, you know what, I'm at least going to push press this one out, and I mean, I just fucking locked it out like it wasn't even there, nice and easy, which is what it should be. And a lot of other stuff I did, I ended up doing a bunch of push press work after, just to really just hammer it home, because I was very, very depressed and upset about that. It's the first time I've failed a strict press goal in a very long time that I wasn't like, this has to happen today. Probably almost 3 months almost it's been since I've actually failed an attempt at a particular goal with press. So that was kind of hard to get over. But you know, it's shit happens. I'll come back. I have a deload next week, which I need. And then I'll come back the following week and I'll have 4s to do, and that'll be probably looking at 155 for that. We'll see what happens. If not, I may just stick to 150. I think part of it was I sort of mentally screwed myself up on that with a lot of warm-ups that I feel might have been just a little too much. You know, I was very tentative to go straight from like 135 straight to 145, and I went to 140 instead, and then 150, and I probably should have just jumped a little bigger in between those numbers. But you know, what's done is done, so you know, I'll just move past it. And then tonight I actually did some deadlifts and some pendlays and some low rows, paused. Actually good news on the Tuesdays is the the log clean and presses are getting a lot better. I was able to do 110 for sets of 10 without wanting to completely die. And then on my squat days, I was able to do my stone squats. I moved up to the 160 stone. So I'm no longer doing the 130, I'm actually at the 160 now. So that's exciting. You know, that's 30 pounds more. That's a good, decent jump. So I'm very excited about that. Deadlifts tonight. So the previous week I did sets of 3 with 295, and they looked about 8, I'd call it about 8.5 out of 10. And tonight I did 295 for 5. Again, about 8.5 out of 10. I was experimenting a little bit with different foot placement and things like that. I used to be a much wider deadlifter, especially when I used straps, because it was easier to hold on to the bar that way. And I wanted to see if maybe it felt a little different, felt a little better maybe. And I'm probably just going to stick to the more narrow stance. That was the stance I had when I pulled that 420 pounds. Feels like years ago now. But, you know, I'm probably going to stick with that more narrow stance. I think it's better for me. And then, you know, pendlays and low rows, no one really gives a shit about that. As they shouldn't. You know, it's just some accessory work to try to fix and work on my weak places, which is speed off the floor has always been a very weak spot for me. And pendlays definitely help with that. I'm inching myself up with it in terms of weight, because I'm very tentative to put that kind of strain on my back, even if it's only for that split, 2 seconds where it's coming up and holding and then down. Doesn't matter though. It's just patience and time, and I'll be doing 225 with that weight very soon, and be looking forward to that day. Let's put it that way. I think I've done 285 for sets on Pendlays before, but numbers don't matter. What matters now is trying to get back and better than what I was. And what's even more important is Miami's Baddest Man going on tomorrow. If you are in the Florida area and anywhere within driving distance, I highly recommend going and checking out Miami's Baddest Man. As you see, I'm wearing my cop shirt from last year to honor all the people going to compete tomorrow, which I will not be one of them, but I will be there to support my friends from the gym that are competing. Well, I guess there's only one who's competing, but should be competing, as well as lots of people that I've met over the years in the sport who will also be competing. Word on the street is some friends I haven't seen in a while are going to be there, and some people who had to kind of bow out of competing are competing again for the first time since, injuries and etc. So that's exciting to see them come back, but I highly recommend you go see that show. Attendance is free, and it's actually an indoor event that's so there's plenty of shade. Even though it's going to be a hot one, it's still indoors, which is always nice, and I recommend you go. And if you don't, then what's your excuse?